Here you are again watching a David Wallimann video. Thank you very much. You guys have asked me some questions during the week, and I picked 3 of them that I'm going to answer today. If you have any questions at all regarding music, guitar, business, whatever, leave them below and I might pick it and answer it in a future episode. Every Wednesday we have Q&As. Well, let's get started. Question number 1 is from Travis Johnson. Thank you, Travis, for asking this. Hey, David. I enjoyed your how to turn a riff into a song video, but I noticed that it was more about arranging than composing, which is indeed very cool, but could you talk a bit more about how you get to that point of arranging? In other words, how do you compose a song? Well, that's a great question. The answer is going to vary from people to people. There's not just one method, but for me, I want to start by telling you about a life lesson that I've learned when I was about 15. And at the time, I didn't know that it was going to be something that would really help me in my life, but it was. Things happen like that. It's kind of funny. At the time, I was in school like any 15-year-old French guy would do. And I was really rebellious. I did not like school. I hated it. And we had art class, and I was interested in music at the time. I had just started playing guitar. I was growing my hair out and trying to grow some kind of facial hair, and rebellious 15-year-old kid who just wanted to play heavy metal at the time, metal, whatever. But we had art class, and there was this assignment where we had to take a piece of paper and smash it, put it on the table, and draw it as best as we could, and put these little pieces together to create a mountain. Just cool exercise, really, when I look back at it. But at the time, I did not want to succeed in school at all. All I wanted to do is be a rock star, work on my guitar. That's it, and be the cool kid. But I was in school. I had to do it, so I did what I would do at the time, try to really mess it up and do it like a 2-year-old would do with stick figures, and tried hard to make it bad. And the teacher was like super nice and came to me, and he thought that I was really trying hard on this. He had no clue that I was really purposely messing it up, but he was very compassionate and said, that's good. That's good. It can be even better if you work on it. And he told me that, even if you're not an artist, but if you spend man hours working on this thing, people are going to appreciate it for the time that you put in it. And it's going to appear like better than it really is. Now, years and years after, I still remember that. And what I took out of it is that if I have an idea, as simple as it can be, it's still valuable. I still work on it. I put the man hours in it, and it will turn into something good if I give it the time, and if I work on it. And so time is a big factor in it. Do you hear a baby crying up there? That's Wes. He woke up from his nap. So we'll try to make this video short, or maybe he'll just fall back asleep. Fingers crossed. That'd be great. So time is a big factor. And here's how this happens. On that original piece, the video that you're talking about, I had that original guitar idea. It was a riff-based thing, and I composed it on the guitar, just kind of messing around until I found something that was pleasant to play and kind of pleasant to the ear. And I recorded that, and I let it breathe. I left it there. I added a quick drum loop on it, a bass that would fit the riff, recorded it, done. And then I went on to something else. And I let it there for a few days, then came back to it with no guitar in hands. Very important. Because if you do, you're going to automatically go back to your I'm a guitar player type of guy, and I've got to play to come up with something. Don't do that. Just listen to what you recorded. Take the role of the listener. And the listener is going to tell you what comes next in the song. If nothing comes next, well, you just let it breathe for another 2 days. Eventually, something will come up. If nothing comes up, well, either start something else or use some music concepts that you've learned, like music theory or whatever, to come up with the next part. But that's that's how I approach usually composition. Do something, record a little piece, and once I'm done, if it doesn't flow, if I don't know what's coming next, I record it and I'm done, and come back to it, and you'll have the next piece. And also, I'm very I want to stress how important it is. At least it's been beneficial for me not to compose with an instrument, because if you do, you're going to be limited often by what your brain thinks you should do on the instrument, scale knowledge and all that. Whereas if you don't have your instrument, if you're not composing with a piano, a keyboard, a guitar, or whatever, all the technique for the instrument is gone, out of reach, out of mind, and you're just using your ears. And it's incredible the amount of ideas that are already inside of you if you just let them come out. That's my tip for writing music. We'll maybe make more videos on that. It's kind of a cool process. I really like that. Great. Thank you for asking this. The second question is from Vince. Vince, thank you for asking this. And thanks for watching my videos. You've been a long time subscriber. I really appreciate it. Vince is asking me this. I have become one of those guys who know loads about theory. I play scales and random jazz chords all day long, but somehow I just cannot play a song. I just find it boring. Yet I'm disappointed that I can't. I get bored quickly, and theory keeps me mentally engaged. Yet my 18-year-old son, who's been playing for less than 2 years, plays loads of John Mayer's blues and Hendrix songs really, really well. What can I do to get out of this rut? Vince, I can relate completely, because if you ask me to play a song, I just kind of like fish around for the notes, and I can't really play any song from beginning to the end for the same reason. I get bored learning other people's songs. Every once in a while, I find a piece that's really appealing to me, and I work on it. But my joy of music, where I'm the most happy musically, is when I compose. And I'd rather compose music all day long and never be heard, rather than playing in front of billions of people every night and being recognized and people know me playing other people's music. That's where I get my joy. Maybe you're the same. I don't know. But I came to terms with it. Music is such a broad area of study that there's so many things you can do, that just do the things that are appealing to you. And do you really need to learn a song? You might get something out of it. Maybe you'll learn some new things, but there's other ways to learn new things musically. Maybe you've got a job or you've got to do it. Then, yeah, you kind of have to do it. But I wonder, I don't know that the question is really, I think there's a hidden question behind that, your question. I think you know how to learn a song. You can do it because you learned all the jazz chords, the scales, and all that. It's not a memorization problem. It's an interest problem. And maybe it's okay not to want to learn songs. So my question to you is, why do you really want to learn songs? Is it because you think it's expected for a musician? Maybe it is, but who cares? I would just encourage, unless you have to, because of a paid job or anything like that, to not worry about it. And just study what you like studying and play what you like playing. Maybe it's just making things up all the time. Great. Maybe someone else can learn your songs, and that's okay, right? But anyways, that's my take on it. Maybe it was completely outside of what you were asking, and feel free to rephrase underneath if I completely missed the mark, but that's my thought on your question. Thank you for asking it. And finally, the last question of the day is from Alex Jacobs. Alex Jacobs. Thank you, Alex, for asking this question. Hi, David. In this day and age where we as guitar players are in many ways spoiled by choice of learning resources, YouTube, books, magazines, websites, private teachers, how does one decide what to actually study and stick with? Really love the series. Warmest regards. Thank you so much, Jacob. Really appreciate it. That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. It's a very simple answer. So who do you study, and what area of focus do you study? You study anything from guitarplayback.com or guitarinfusion.com, my websites. Guys, thank you for asking these questions. I really appreciate you. I'm joking. I've got more. I've got more, but still check out my website. But what I would say is something that I don't believe in for everyday life, but for music and for not as important tasks as other things might be. Follow your own heart and be your own teacher. I like the idea of follow your own heart type of thing in everyday life. Like, what does your heart say? Well, I like the concept. The truth is, at least for me, I've discovered that I can't trust my heart. My heart is kind of messed up in places. And it's very misleading. So don't just trust your heart. For me, David, don't just trust your heart. But in music, trust your heart. Be your own teacher. That's okay. That is a side note, a little deep maybe. But in music, there's so many things you can learn that anywhere you go is going to bring you something and it's going to generate new questions. So where do you start? I'm actually releasing a video this Monday in the masterclass. It answers that question. What should you practice? So that's coming Monday, but a little brief intro to that. Basically, whatever you have questions on, that's what you need to study. So if you're, let's say, improvising and you're over a blues thing and you play something and, oh, that is cool. What was that? That's a question. That's your number one priority in your music study. Answer that question. What was that? And from that question, there's going to be a multitude of other questions. What was that? That is a lick. Okay, what made me say, what was that in that lick? What was interesting in that lick? Oh, well, maybe it's a rhythm thing. Maybe it's a particular note. Maybe it's a technique. Now I have 3 questions. How do I come up with new ideas using the rhythm? What was that note that I really liked? Does that note work on another backing track? All those questions are going to be the research of your study. So that's the first part of the question. What should you study? Whatever you have a question on. Who should you study? Whoever gives you peace about that question. Whoever gives you an answer that brings you peace, that settles it. And there are multiple teachers. There's bad teachers for you. There's good teachers for you. I might be a good fit for you. I might be a horrible fit for you. You've got to find the person who settles that for you completely. And I might be a good person to answer one question that you have, but a really bad person for another question. Find different approaches. Find what everybody has to say about it. Be your own teacher musically and investigate the question as much as you can until you can teach it and make sense of it and until you have peace about it. If you have any other questions, if one question generates another one, that's normal. It's going to happen for the rest of your life. It means you're on the right track for your own practice. And investigate everything. This is, I think, something very important for anybody who studies really anything art related, or not, but for music particularly. Have the self-taught mind. Now, I made a couple videos on this. Those videos were completely misunderstood. I offended so many people, so many self-taught players who were like, hey man, screw you, I'm self-taught and I've played in front of thousands of players and I'm making a living and this and that and this and that. Well, good for you. I do too. And he does too, and she does. We're all self-taught. If you're not self-taught, you're going to quit because you're never going to ask questions. Now, a self-taught gathers information from other resources, but the teacher doesn't do the work. You do the work. You have the self-taught discipline and mind, and you do. I know that you do, to continue doing this. Anyways, hopefully that answers your question. More on that Monday, on Monday's masterclass session. Every Monday, a new masterclass until I get tired of it and I move on to something else. But for now, there's at least one more scheduled this Monday. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to be featured in a future episode, leave your question below. I might pick it. It could be anything. And also, If you want to support this channel, I thought about doing a Patreon thing, but that means that I'm excluding some people who can't afford it and all that. And this channel does take time, and time that, well, I need money to pay the bills. But I'm not going to ask for money. All you need to do if you want to support my work here on YouTube is sign up for a free 30-day trial to Amazon Prime. The link is below. Just use that link. I get a little advertisement commission out of it. You get unlimited access to all their streamable movies. You get some perks, and you can cancel anytime. You don't need to pay at all for this, and I still get paid. Cool. Thank you, everyone, so much. I'll see you Friday's video. Thank you for watching my videos. Watch more. I'll see you next time. Salut.